I bought this today. It's Jono's bargain bongo of the day.
$10
That
for
won't
us.
be a reoccurring theme. I don't plan on buying more. So today I have a guest on with me, Megan.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're not me,
I
right?
pay rent. I
Yeah,
live here.
yeah.
Um,
You're a resident guest.
I'm a-
So we're gonna start off just talking about the stock market. Yes.
Pardon me, I'm eating a s'more. Just let me
Yeah,
do it.
she
Okay.
cooked this before she realized there was only a minute left.
I'm
Um, so uh, I'll be talking about the stock market. Essentially, what has been going on is the votes have not really been the same turnout we had for the first voting. I think people don't really understand the concept that this is going to be a weekly thing, so I just want to reiterate that you can go back to the Wednesday stream and vote on your favorite stock so that you can help fluctuate the market throughout the weeks to come. I will be buying my stock on Thursday. I know I said Tuesday several times, and then I said Thursday before that. It is Thursday. Thursday's the 15th. And if you don't believe me, open up a calendar and look at it because I've messed that up several times. Now I'm debating, do you want to buy into the stock market this week, or do you want to wait until Thursday when I'm going to buy in?
gonna let you buy in. I'll just tell
Okay.
you how many I want.
Okay, we can do that.
Does that work?
So
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
how your system works.
Okay,
So.
no, I mean, essentially what's happening is this. I have the stock market set up. You can let her in if you want. Yeah. I have the stock market set up so when the viewers vote in the poll, the percentage of votes change the values every week. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I did check the poll that's going on the Wednesday stream that is currently up, and it is, I believe, 50% red and 50% green. There's only two votes, which means any vote that you put in will extremely change the fluctuation of the market. So if you're interested in playing a role in this game we have going on, then head over to that either now or later. It doesn't really matter, but it's a pretty colorful video, so it'll stand out. So that's the update on the stock market, and we're playing footsies apparently.
No.
Um,
I'm just shoving my cold toes under his knee.
okay, so
That's it.
today we have a new segment that I would like to call Jono Explains Things to Megan. So that's why Megan is here today, and so you may notice from the title that is very punny. If you want to view that for yourself, Megan, it's let's see what Megan's gotten herself entangled in this time.
Is
Um,
that because I like Tangled?
no, you just a mess.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. You don't
Um,
want to see the paper towel I'm eating over with this.
yeah.
It's a mess.
So
I don't know.
today's topic is quantum entanglement, and so we got to remember, I am explaining things to you, but also we are explaining to the audience. So
Mhm.
if you have any questions that you think people might be asking, then feel free to bring them up.
Some of you guys might find it kind of obvious. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Uh, that's why I'm bringing you on so that I make sure I cover all of the parameters and bases and whatnot.
The people who aren't engineers.
So, first, I need to explain a little bit about what quantum mechanics is in general. So, a quantum system essentially is something that, if, let's say, so you know the story of Schrodinger's cat and whatnot. You've heard of
Oh,
it.
yeah. I know that
So,
whole concept.
essentially, there's a box and there's a cat in the box, and so we have our cat and we're putting it in the box.
It's really cute.
It's gonna be even
Cats have
cuter.
triangle noses.
They have whatever nose I draw.
That is
That's our
anatomically
cat,
incorrect.
and we're putting it in this box, right? And essentially, the idea is there's also this capsule of cyanide that we're putting in the box. And did you never actually hear the whole story?
I thought the cat just starves in the box. Like you just
Oh,
put
no,
the
no,
cat
no.
in the
So-
box and you leave it there for a couple of weeks and then you don't know if it's alive or
Because
dead
because
until
okay,
you
the
have the
the
evidence.
problem with that is it doesn't really apply the whole theory because the cat we can assume that the cat will still be alive 3 seconds later if we just put it in the box.
Right, but I
But-
thought the whole thing was like
yeah.
multiple weeks. So
No. So we put a
It's kinda
capsule
harsh.
in there with
It's really
some
harsh.
little timer on it, and the timer essentially is a random time. So we don't know what time this capsule is going to open up and kill the cat. So at any point in time, we don't know if the cat is alive or dead. So essentially, we can assume that we have to assume that the cat is both alive and dead. And dead. I don't know why I didn't capitalize dead,
underline,
but
just underline
Eh.
it. Not dead. And alive and dead.
Okay, and
Here,
so
double
alive
underline it 'cause
and
you messed up.
oh, I have to double up. That's a terrible underline.
That's really bad.
But so this is the story with Schrodinger's cat is that in a quantum system, essentially, if you think of something like a byte where there's a 1 or a 0 for the possibility, or I guess, yeah, so it's a binary system. So that is how we live in the macro scale. Things are either one thing or the other.
It's
But
like everything is a donut or
Yeah.
it isn't.
yeah, exactly. So you could say donuts are zeros and everything else is ones, right? So in a quantum system, there are situations where because we don't know whether one thing is one thing or the other, then we have to assume that it is a probability of both. And that's why we use this scenario to explain quantum systems, because we don't know if the cat is alive or dead, so we have to assume that both scenarios are possible, or both scenarios are happening at the same time, essentially. So what we are explaining, and I have tried to explain quantum entanglement before, but I took a more scientific approach to it, and I don't think that I necessarily had the authority to be trying to do that. But I have an analogy I want to use. So what we're explaining is quantum entanglement. I think there's an E there, right?
Well, wouldn't make sense without an E. It'd be
Yeah, there'd be
entanglement or entanglement.
no, this E.
Oh, the E. I thought you said
Yeah.
T.
No, I always get confused when there's like an E at the end of the word and then you're adding ment.
Is.
But it's fine.
We'll say it's
So,
here. You
quantum
know what we're talking
entanglement.
about.
So the analogy that I want to use is a little bit specific because of who I'm talking to. My girlfriend here is a big fan of the DC comics and
I'm
superheroes.
Still learning, but I'm a
Yes,
fan.
but she's a big fan. Especially you really like the whole Batman story. And
yeah.
so I'm gonna need your help on some of the specifics.
Okay.
But
I'll do my best.
but my general knowledge of the Batman story is actually from the movies. So
Yeah,
so
I mean,
they were good movies.
they are.
So the
original.
the second movie with the Joker, that
Dark
is
Knight. Rises.
Dark Knight.
No, that's
Dark-
just Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Sorry.
Okay.
Rises is after.
So I get confused because there's the
Batman Begins, which is the Scarecrow.
then Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises,
yeah,
which is like
Talia
two
al Ghul
beginnings.
and all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
So we're focusing on the second movie and a specific scene in the second movie. And so if you don't want any spoilers on this, you might want to go watch the movie.
Is this she's in this one, he's in that one?
No, we're not going with that one.
Okay.
The scene I'm picking is the boat scene. So
Oh.
we're gonna have two. Essentially, what we have
Cool.
is a big harbor, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna have two boats out here. And so I'm trying to draw kind of three-dimensional, but
We're gonna have square boats.
yeah, they're gonna be like the steamboat kind
I'm
of
still
things.
trying to figure out what's going into what.
It'll come together.
I know, that's what I'm trying to figure out what's happening at the moment.
All right, so I'm just going Steamboat Willie. Is that what it is?
Oh, I see it. I see
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Like Titanic kind of
Yeah,
steam
I thought this was
pipes.
supposed to be like the sails, and I was like the.
Yeah, so there's the water there. And then I'm lazy, so we're gonna grab this guy and just make another.
You gotta flip them.
So
Do you know how to
hold
flip
on.
them?
Yeah,
That's
paste, and then flip horizontal.
You should have flipped it vertically.
Do you want me to put it upside down?
No, Titanic, no Titanic.
No, it's not.
It
it's
looks
not
like
the
cake
Titanic.
now.
Okay, so ignore that the lines don't really match up. I can clean some of these up, but essentially, there's two boats here, and so our first boat over here is filled with random civilians. So I'm gonna say civil just for short. Sorry, my phone is buzzing. So this boat, boat one over here,
It's like a
is
ferry.
full of civilians. It's just like a ferry, like the ferry that brings people across the water, not the tiny person that might
Not
be
Tinkerbell.
seen on the background of our thing here in the near future. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I might add
we
some
can add
fairies,
some
who
stuff.
knows?
And so the second boat, boat two over here, has prisoners on it. I'm just gonna write prison for short. So we have civilians and we have prisoners, and essentially the scene is that the Joker has organized for the prisoners to be in this boat at the same time that the civilians are in this other boat, and I think it's about the same amount of people, correct?
Yeah, it's about the same amount of people, and they're given. Can I go on with it?
Yeah.
Go on.
You can explain this
They're
here.
basically each given like a box with like a trigger in it, and the whole idea is that that button will detonate like a bomb on the other person's boat. So they're sitting there deciding who's gonna blow up who first, and the prisoners, of course, are like we should just blow it up. Like we're already bad people. Like we want to live, blah blah blah. And there's some people who are like, no, they're civilians. Like we're bad people. And some of the civilians are in the same boat. Like we're innocent. We need to blow them up now so they don't kill us because they're not good people. And there's like a whole bunch of back and forth. And I don't think anyone ends up pressing the button at some point.
Oh yeah, in the movie, I don't think anybody presses the button.
Because they're arguing for so long about
or
what's
it's like,
right
oh
and
god,
oh my God. And what they're, like humanity, like where their line is, where they draw the line to protect themselves or lose who they are if they decide to like blow up the other boat. So it's like a big moral compass kind of thing, the whole scene, and it's really really interesting.
So for the analogy, what we need to know is that there's a bomb. We're just gonna draw these red things like a TNT kind of thing with some lines. And
did he even have bombs hooked up, or was it like a big psychological thing?
I think there was something visual. I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure there was something to.
I haven't seen this movie in a while, so it's going off this
show
memory.
people.
And I only watched it once because I don't like a death. I'm not going to say who if you've seen it or not seen it.
Okay, so essentially there's a bomb on each boat, predictably enough to destroy the entire boat, sink it, before the safety crews could come help. And essentially each boat has the trigger for the other boat's bomb. So it becomes sort of a Cold War of who's going to push who. So what we're going to say for our situation, because we're trying to explain quantum entanglement, we can't lose the big picture, is we are on a dock over here. And what we are doing, so this is me, and this is Megan.
Your arms are coming right out of your neck. Why am I so tiny?
And so me and Megan are sitting here on the dock, and we want to figure out what the outcome of this scenario is. So before I get into this, I'm going to sort of give an idea of what quantum entanglement is. So essentially, when you have, this is just for a science background, when you have a particle, each particle, like an electron or something like that, has a quality that is given to it called spin. So you can think of it like, if you think of an electron like a ball, you can think of it like spinning like this. And what it means is if it's, and this is all kind of a theoretical thing, spin isn't necessarily saying that the electron is spinning, because there's a lot of weird stuff that happens with electrons. But if you want to picture it that way, it does make sense. So if we use something called the right-hand rule in a lot of situations in engineering and in science, But let's say the electron is spinning this way. So this is my right hand. I don't know if it's the right on the screen, but if you are spinning an electron this way and you stick your thumb up, then it's pointing up, correct?
Yeah.
But if you are spinning the other way,
It's
your
pointing
thumb
down.
points down. So we'll
Gotcha.
say this is spinning up and this is spinning down.
Even though it's sideways.
Yeah.
That's
So
confusing.
it's kind of weird because when in engineering and in physics and in whatever, when you show rotation, the magnitude of it is a line in a perpendicular direction. It's weird, but it makes sense for
Gotcha.
math. So
Yeah, I hate math.
so an electron can have an upward spin or a downward spin, and so what happens when an electron is entangled is electrons that are close to each other, they don't want to have the same spin. So it's kind of like, you know how electrons have their different levels for atoms.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah.
like a hydrogen. So if something is in a particular like space, and there's two electrons there, one will be spinning up and one will be spinning down. But if we've separated the electrons from the atom, we just have the electrons, then
Is that even possible?
yeah, you can get them kind of isolated.
Oh,
But if you have two together and they become entangled, then one will be spinning up and one will be spinning down. That's essentially what I'm getting at.
okay.
So it's kind of like a positive situation and a negative situation.
I had a theoretical question, but it's off topic. So.
Okay, well, you can ask it at the end if you want.
I'm gonna forget.
Okay. So basically, entanglement means that if we know the outcome, if we know what's happening with one particle, then we immediately know what's happening with the other particle.
Because it should be opposite.
Because it should be the opposite.
In pairs.
Yes.
If it's odd.
I'm not sure if entanglement works that way, but
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So
you said it's like binary.
yeah, it's kind of
Cool.
it's kind of like that.
Yes.
So
More my question.
back to our situation, we have our two boats, and what we're going to say for this scenario, are you stealing money from me?
No, it's just I had my foot there and it was a giant chunk.
So
Anyway.
this was my wallet, just in case anyone was wondering what the giant chunk was. The distance between us and the boat is big enough to where we can't see it. And those are eyes, so I'm going to put those there to make them look like eyes more. So this distance between the dock and the boats is large enough to where we can't see the boats, or perhaps there's a building in the way or something like that. And so we want to know what the outcome is of this Cold War situation
Without being able to see the boats?
at the moment. So what's going to happen is in our scenario,
How many of the boats are there?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Okay, let's just assume that we know there's two boats out there, we just can't see them.
Can't physically see.
Okay. And so this is like having two electrons in a box, but we can't see them, right? We have the lid
Fair
closed. So since we can't see them, we don't know what's happening out on the water. And in this scenario, we're going to say that one of the boats is going to push the button. So in the movie, it kind of becomes a stalemate, but in this scenario, we're going to say somebody blows up. All right. So so we either have boat 1 or boat 2. What we can do is, if we have if in this scenario, essentially, if one of the boats comes back to the dock, we can assume that the other boat has exploded. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, they know that they have the bombs.
Yeah.
That's why they're not coming to the dock. So.
Yeah.
Fair
So, but
I was just picturing a boat coming to the dock and then blowing up and then just everywhere. But
so the trigger to this boat is on this boat, and the trigger to this boat is on this boat. So essentially, in this scenario, if one of the boats blew up, the trigger would be gone, and the bomb would kind of be rendered.
would the bomb enable the other trigger?
If it somehow hit the button, but I don't think that would work.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
But we're just getting it clean,
I
cut,
know.
and dry.
I'm just-
So.
Sorry, my mind does this. You know this.
So the metaphor I'm going with is essentially, if we know the outcome of one of the ships, we know the outcome of the other ship. and we know that it is the opposite because if
There's two
the
people.
civilian boat comes back intact, then the prisoner boat has exploded, and
Right.
we can assume that
The
there
opposite.
we can assume that it is the opposite outcome of the civilian boat, and so that is basically the metaphor I'm going for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any questions?
It's like understanding the experimental process
Yeah.
just by getting the conclusion.
So, and the weird thing about this
It's like reversing.
is essentially, um, so in in all of in real life, things can't move faster than the speed of light. And the interesting thing is, even information can't move faster than the speed of light. Because how would we get the information from, like, if I was trying to tell you something, how would I
Right,
tell
that
you
sound.
something? Or, I mean, I could signal something with a light, correct? Like,
Right,
one if
like
by
doing-
one if by land, two if by sea. Like he turned on the lantern and they could see.
Yeah.
That's essentially communicating at the speed of light.
Right, but it's still like you have to do like multiple.
Well, yeah, but
things and-
so the fastest way that I could tell you something is by like shining a laser from a distance, and when it
Right.
got there, you would know like if it's a red laser, then it's one thing, or if it's a green laser, it's another thing.
Right.
And the weird thing about quantum entanglement is that we know something about particle 2 immediately upon learning about particle 1.
Because it has to be opposite.
But, so this is the way that scientists tend to remedy this situation because we claim that nothing can move faster than the speed of light. Let's say we have two electrons and
Okay.
they're entangled. We don't know what's happening with them. We put one in one box and I keep that box.
Mhm.
And we put one in another box and you keep that box. And then you go to the other side of the universe, just as far away as you can. All right?
Okay.
So, light would take a very long time to get there, correct?
Yeah.
So,
I'm lazy as shit. But
yeah. So, if I have my box and you have your box, fine. And you have your box, then if I open my box and look at the electron inside, and I see that it has a spin of up, I immediately know, even though she's on the other side of the universe, that the spin of her electron is down. But I can't communicate to her that for her, she still doesn't know that the spin of my electron is up or the spin of her electron is
opened my
down.
box.
So, essentially, the information has not traveled the distance. We have gained the information, but the information cannot travel past the speed of light because we would still have to tell her that her electron was in the opposite.
Was I strictly told to not open my present? Is this the situation?
Well, yeah, but
Because
even
I'm
if
not
you
that-
opened it and I opened it, we wouldn't know that both of us opened it. So
Fair
the
enough.
whole idea is it's
I
not
wouldn't know that you knew what I had.
Yeah. It's not breaking this law or this theory that nothing can move faster than the speed of light, even information, because the information itself doesn't move that across that distance. So that's something that we're remedying, and I think that it is actually the end of the section because I have been stickered. So I'm going to we're going to do a random drawing as well, and so if you have any questions about this while I'm getting that set up, you can ask that.
Was that it?
Do you have any more questions on the topic?
How did
Or-
that have to do with entanglement? I got so into like.
Okay,
That.
so I'll summarize while there's a sticker on my face. So we have the two boats, and they both, while we're on the dock, we know nothing about them. We know that there are two boats because we saw them leave. Let's say that.
Right, and we know the
And-
outcome based off of.
And so we know that they are entangled because of this situation where one holds the trigger to the other.
So wait, entanglement is just the whole binary idea that if one's
kind
doing
of.
one, the other one has to be doing the other
Entanglement is weird because it's sort of like it can act at a distance, essentially. Because in quantum mechanics, we don't necessarily know what one thing is, whether one thing is to one side or the other.
Okay.
But so we have to treat it as if it is in a superposition of both outcomes.
Right.
So until we look at what our experiment is, we have to assume that the civilian boat is both intact and exploded, and the prisoner boat is both intact and exploded. But the minute one of the boats comes back to the dock, we see it intact, we know that the other boat is exploded.
Right.
And we know the outcome of both situations, even though we've only seen the outcome of one.
Okay.
So that's quantum entanglement. A quantum entanglement is essentially this connection that if you know the outcome of one thing, you know the outcome of the other.
Gotcha.
And so that is the whole story.
Okay.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat. I'm going to be switching some things up and getting things ready for the random drawing. But if you've been watching this long, I want to thank you guys for watching. And we will be moving on to the next section. All right. So I got to get this switched up. Whoa.
My unicorn is gone.
You don't like my Loch Ness Monster?
My unicorn.
We'll save that.
Unicorns are awesome. Unicorns are
I'm saving it as kusuntum.
What?
I accidentally pressed
Hit
S instead of A. Okay. So, this is now yours.
I don't want it. I don't want
You
it.
got it. Welcome to the
think
random
it's
drawing
smart.
section. I'm actually going to need some other stuff that I probably should have gotten ready before talking, so entertain them. Go.
Alright. Well, I don't think you're gonna like what I do.
Okay,
Does it
we're
involve some
ready.
guessing?
No.
Okay, just kidding.
Alright.
Just kidding. I would
Um,
not actually do that. I was going real slow.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so we have our calculator and we have our paper. You're going to have to let me know. Actually, there are a couple we did that I forgot to cross off, but we'll get there when we get there. Math, probability, random int, 125. Let's go. Number 22 on the first column. Printer. We haven't done that yet. Awesome. Alright. Number 22 on the second column. I'm not lying.
Drive.
Drive, is that crossed out or we have
No.
we've not used that, so we're that's
I
interesting.
Read it if it was crossed out.
Yeah. So our verb is drive and our third number
Please
is
tell me it's
18.
22. Dang it. It's crossed.
It's crossed out?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get another one. 23.
Aggressive. Wait, no. Coded.
Coded. Okay.
Man, I was really hoping to be
These
getting an
words
aggressive printer driving.
Yeah,
That
these
one-
words are actually pretty connected already because printers tend to coat paper and they run off drivers when you have to plug them in. But we're gonna probably make this pretty interesting. So, do you want to have someone driving the printer, or do you want what are we going with?
I want an angry printer. No. Like a sim. Like, you know how they get mad when there's like a plate in front of the door and they can't go to work? Like that. Like they're trying to drive to work and there's a printer in the middle of the road and they just like...
We got to get coded in here though, because that's our.
Oh,
that's
it's
our
not
adjective.
aggressive.
No, it's not
coded.
aggressive. It's coded.
I keep thinking that's aggressive. Because it's just right in the same row.
Yeah. So,
They can get in their cars covered in snow.
maybe the road is coded in printers. That would probably mess some stuff up.
That would really mess us
Okay,
up.
so we have
We need
our.
a giant semi truck that's like just crashed and it was carrying a whole bunch of printers.
Okay,
And
we can work
it's
on that.
just
So we're gonna have
everywhere.
our Sims house here. This is gonna be a very simplistic view.
I wasn't saying like a
Uh,
legitimate sim. I was just
No,
saying
no,
like.
we're going with it.
it's-
We're going with it. All right, so our sim. Okay.
I'm coming back.
Our sim came out the door here, and so we have our sim, and our sim has to have its plumb bob. So we have our plumb bob, which is a light green because our sim is happy at the moment. But just wait. So they have their car. Also, We'll figure out which ones I did last time. If you guys remember which drawing I drew last time, post that in the chat so we can cross out the words. So we have a road here. Oh, I need to draw that in something that's visible. Um, we have the road here,
That
and
was really close.
there is a semi. Well, I mean, we gotta kind of lower the distances so that
That's the back of the semi.
yeah, it was 18 wheelers or
Oh, I figured that was just gonna be like the semi was going that way because we live in England,
what?
and we don't we don't live in England, but it's gonna be driving on the left side. Like I was picturing like that be the back end right there,
Well,
and then all the
this
printers.
this
here.
is this it's symmetrical. This could be the back end if you want. We just have to put the semi over here.
I'm so confused.
Let's fix this.
Where is it?
Can you close the door?
Is
or
that
where?
is that a car? Right
Yeah.
That little one. Why is it underneath?
Do you not know what a semi looks like? Semis are trucks, and then they have a box on the back.
Oh yeah.
It's like we're looking at it from the side.
It's going that way.
Yeah, it's on the left side of the road. You told us we're in
Well,
London.
yeah, no, I. Well,
the mic. If anything was messed up in the last few seconds, blame her.
My toe hit the cord.
Yeah. All right. So Thursday's the big anniversary. I'm gonna be streaming a full-length stream probably, but I think I'm gonna do a Q&A as the main topic as opposed to a discussion topic. So bring your questions, and the stock market will be opening to guests. So you will be letting me know what stock you want to purchase between red, yellow, green, and blue.
I like blue.
You like blue? Well, I hate to tell you this, but nobody's liking blue right now.
Well, then I will give blue
But-
some love.
It'll be a cheap buy, so that's some good. And then if it goes up, then
And I can
you
buy
get
a
a lot
bunch, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be extremely skewed because I'm gonna be like the only person
of.
wanting blue.
All right, but
All
thank
the
you guys
time.
for watching, and we will. Oh, I will at least see you on Thursday.